Well, during the elections, international media came under fire. Kenyans, particularly those on social media, said they were alarmist. No one knows this better than international broadcaster CNN. The hashtag "Someone Tell CNN" went viral. The station having to later issue a statement explaining their story, showing masked men that were allegedly preparing for violence ahead of the elections. Well, Edith Kimani has been monitoring the media response this time and joins us live with the latest. Now, Edith, do you think the previous attack on CNN could have advised the angle that Western media took when reporting on the inauguration?
Well, Betty, you know what, that attack could actually explain that the slant international press has taken for the inauguration, but we can't say conclusively that it was the reason. But for the most part, what I can say is that online papers, magazines, blogs, all of them reported fact. And what I mean by this is that there was little analysis on the actual event. So it's very much he said, she said, he walked in at this particular time accompanied by this person. Focus seemed to be on Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni and, of course, his sharp criticism that he made of the ICC. But nearly all of the articles that I've read on the Kenyan inauguration mention that the president and his deputy are ICC indictees, just on the backbone of what Museveni said. And of course, we can't blame them. It is a fact. And it made its way either at the beginning or at the tail end of the articles. That's where these discrepancies came. There were, however, a few papers, and these include The Guardian, that didn't try to sugarcoat the issue. You know, these ones went straight for the jugular, and the headline, for example, in The Guardian, I don't know if you can see it on your screens right now, was "Controversy as Kenya Salutes New Leader." And you know, that headline just, you know, it says it all. The article then went on to call Uhuru and Ruto the terrible two. And it then said that they have cultivated an anti-imperialist sentiment. Obviously, this is a very bullish approach that we've also seen in the New York Times. And this focused on the unsaid during the inauguration, something about the silent, the awkward silence that was not mentioned during the inauguration. That unsaid, of course, being the ICC agenda. For those that did not engage directly on the matter, there was plenty of recommended pages explaining the ICC dilemma. I'll give you an example. BBC Online, for example, had at least 2 or 3 pages, I believe, written previously about Uhuru's candidature and the effect that it would have on the country. And these were links which were then uplinked to the main article, if that makes sense. Betty.
Well, Edith, you have been following and monitoring this report. How important is it on the global scale? Is it a top story, looking at the global scale, comparing it to other stories worldwide?
Well, it's interesting that you should ask that. This morning when I was coming into work, I was listening to Voice of America, which is an international radio station. And I will say that the Kenyan story came in after Iran, Korea. There were a couple of stories about Sudan, and so we were pretty much on the back burner. That's not to say that it wasn't an important issue. It's just on the world context, we were not featuring heavily. What it does say, however, is that it was an important enough story to feature in the international news, and especially when it came to the African agenda. I don't know if you've noticed, but all those articles had the story as the top story in the African pages. Betty.
Well, thank you very much, Edith Kimani. She is coming to us live from our newsroom here at KTN. And of course, she's telling us the details of just how the Western media reported on yesterday's inauguration.